Oh, you want some 卤肉饭? No. Hello. Welcome to Cooking with Steam. Today we're going to make 卤肉饭 or braised pork rice. This is a quintessential Taiwanese dish. It's so typical that there's actually like an entire book made of all of the different braised pork rice stalls. Everything in this dish could be produced on Taiwanese soil. It's also a dish meant to go over rice. I make this all the time, but usually on the weekends and usually in a big batch. Could be called kind of like peasant food or farmer's food. But the whole idea is that it's just pulling from what's around and transforming those small things into like a really rich and amazing dish. So there's all kinds of ways to make it. Some lean very sweet and thick. Others are almost more fatty or oily. I like mine pretty rich with a good amount of pork belly and pork fat. So this is a beautiful 2 pieces of pork belly. And it's seasoned with a few simple aromatics that are really common in Taiwanese cuisine. So shiitake mushroom, we've been soaking these already. Give them a good squeeze. And also shallot, garlic, and of course, ginger. And the whole thing is going to be sweetened with rock sugar. This is going to give it, yes, a sweetness, but also like a glisten. And it is going to mix with the water and the stock that we're making to just cook down into a thicker sauce that will coat the rice and also coat the pork. For flavoring, the most important is this 滷包 or braise pack. And that is a sachet of herbs, which you could make at home. I get it open. But it's so commonly used in Taiwan that it's sold kind of pre-mixed. So this is actually a 13 spice braise pack. This is the secret to making these simple foods into something just very, very rich and aromatic. And of course, we're going to use soy sauce. So we have the Firewood Soy Paste from Yunhai, which is like a thicker, sweeter soy sauce, and then Vat Bottom Soy Sauce. This comes from the bottom of the fermentation vat where all of the umami particles tend to settle. And so it's very rich and is really suitable for braising meats. And then finally, we're going to actually use a little bit of peanut butter, which is not traditional. So my grandmother would not have put Smuckers into her 卤肉饭. But I like it because it just gives it this extra kind of like thicker flavor and a little bit of a kind of peanut flavor and nuttiness. This pork belly has been frozen for maybe half an hour. Still has a little bit of firmness, which is going to make it a lot easier to handle. I'm going to cut it crosswise like this. So we're going to get these kind of slabs. And this actually has skin as well. In Mandarin, it's called 五花肉, which means, I think it means 5. Is it 5 flour? Directly translated, it's like 5 flour meat, but it refers to like 5 layers and just how stratified this cut of meat is. I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces, which will cook down to be kind of like a chopstickable size. And I think going to an Asian market for pork belly for a dish like this is actually great because they will leave the skin on, which makes it thicker and more rich and sticky. So now I'm going to blanch the, ooh, that's hot. My God, I'm going to start over. So now I'm going to blanch the pork in boiling water just for really a minute, and that's to remove the gamey flavor and to kind of clean the pork off. Gonna pour that in, very simple. So this is ready. I'm just gonna set it aside until we're ready to get braising. Very foundational, ginger, shallot, and garlic. So I'll do 3 cloves of garlic. You can do more, you can do less. I wouldn't recommend less. Maybe I'll do 4. I'm kind of feeling like that's about right. For this, I'm just gonna smash the garlic, which is gonna make it easier to peel. So when it's smashed, it just kind of opens up and you can easily pull the peel off. So I'm just gonna cut across like this. I like a round cutting board because you can just go 90 degrees like this. And then give it a quick mince. And then I'm gonna do 1 shallot. It's a light and kind of sweet flavor that I think makes a 卤肉饭 taste very Taiwanese. I'm just gonna go kind of rustic and I'm gonna chop them like this and kind of be cool with bigger pieces of shallot because it's gonna caramelize and cook down anyway. I'll give it a couple rough chops like this and then that'll be that. And the next up is ginger. So I don't usually peel ginger. You can if you like. I'm fine with having a little bit of the skin. I was watching this funny YouTube video by my favorite. She's a Taiwanese British YouTuber. She teaches Taiwanese cooking in English, and also she'll ascend into Mandarin and Taiwanese. She had this really funny line, which was like, don't ask me how much this, how much that. Just ask your heart. I was like, oh, that's good. That's what I'm going to start telling people. Don't ask me, ask your heart. This is going to be a gingery one. And then the last thing we need to prepare is shiitake mushroom. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can do a little bit more, a little bit less, ask your heart. And we're gonna actually save the soaking water, which has a ton of flavor because it's basically kind of like a mushroom dashi. So I'm just gonna cut off the stems. You can soak these with a hot water soak 30 minutes before. I really and strongly prefer a cold water soak because I think it preserves all of that delicate flavor. So I'm just gonna slice these into small strips. I'm gonna put them on this cute plate. My friend Yenwei gave this to me. It's like all fruit iconography on a ceramic. It's the best. So we're ready to go do some wok work. It's the wok of my life. I got it in Chicago, actually 20 years ago. Use it almost every day and it's never let me down. So I've talked about this before. This is one of my favorite products that we sell. It's made with small peanuts grown in Taiwan specifically for oil. It's very rich, has a high smoke point. I think it's a great stir-fry oil. So I have measurements in the recipe below, but I'm gonna wing it here. So I'm just gonna dump these all in. Taiwanese cooking, I've been instructed to cook by smell, like over sight. When all the aromatics open up is when you're ready to move on to the next step. I'm gonna add the rock sugar. So the rock sugar will eventually melt, also kind of coats these ingredients so that they caramelize a little bit better as well. Then I'm gonna add the pork and the mushrooms at the same time. So here's the mushrooms, and I'll put the pork in. We've already kind of blanched the pork, so the rock sugar is gonna start to just glaze it a tiny bit. So I'm looking for the fat on the pork belly to just start to melt a little bit, which will create kind of like a oily frying layer. Okay, so this is starting to kind of get there. Like the mushrooms are starting to turn color a bit, if you can kind of see that. And things are just getting pretty hot. So that's great, but we don't want to burn things. So I'm just gonna cool it down with a hit of rice wine. This is Taiwanese rice wine. It's pretty close to Japanese cooking sake, actually, so you can use that instead. Put my finger over the top and just deglaze it. It's gonna get loud. This is gonna take some of the sticky caramelized parts on the bottom and reincorporate them into the sauce. So we have 2 different kinds of soy sauces. I feel like my uncle in Taiwan is always telling me the exact ratios of the different soy sauces he uses for different dishes. Equally, my mom only uses one kind of soy sauce and really never goes for anything fancy, so you can go either direction. We're using the Vat Bottom Soy Sauce, which is a richer soy sauce, and it's going to give more brine to the braising liquid. So I'll put in a couple of these Chinese soup spoons, assuming that these are about 2 tablespoons each. And I like to put that on the edge of the pot because the hot wok also caramelizes the sugars in the soy sauce. And then this is soy paste. So this is thickened soy sauce with a little bit of sugar and rice starch. This is gonna add a little bit more sweetness, but also glaze to the braise. So I'll do the same, where I'll kind of put it on the edge of the wok. I'll get it off the spoon by stirring it. So you can really see how the color is actually starting to change, and how the sugars and the soy sauces are starting to glaze this pork mixture. Then I'm going to add the mushroom water. You can also add plain water, but the mushroom water is what's going to give this that extra umami hit. Okay. You want to make sure we have enough water to kind of cover the ingredients. If we have too much water, it's not going to like combine with the sugars and cook down to make kind of a thick and reduced sauce. Now I'm going to add the peanut butter. Again, it doesn't have to be super precise, but just enough to kind of coat everything. So this is looking kind of watery and ready to braise. 13 spice braise pack. I'm gonna submerge this as best as possible underneath some of the ingredients. just to make sure it's in that stock. And then I'm gonna add eggs. This is optional, but it's something very common where you also braise hard-boiled eggs, kind of like a soy egg, but in this luro stock. And then I will just give this a little bit of a mix. We'll come turn them over a little bit later. So I'm going to cover this and turn the heat down a little bit just so it's not at a rolling boil, and we'll come back and check on it in 45 minutes. Okay, so while the pork is braising, I'm going to get the rice ready. I'm using Taiwanese Penglai Rice, which is a short grain rice. It's actually very similar to the rice used for like risotto. Now we're gonna cook it in the datung. So I'm gonna let this cook. It'll take about 18 to 20 minutes. By that time, the braise will be done and we'll be ready to serve. So this has been cooking for about 45 minutes, and you can see how much it's reduced and started to turn into like a saucy braise. It's looking perfect. I'm gonna turn the heat off, and the eggs have changed color. So I'm just gonna remove the braise pack. Yum, set that aside. All right, so we've got the luro and the wok, and we have the rice. Yes, ready to go. You can see how the grains are just not broken at all and how individual they've remained. So I'll put some rice in, messily, and then I'll add the braise. It's perfect. And then I'm gonna pop an egg in. Chopsticks are mismatched, but I'm just gonna chalk that up to reality, I guess. All right, so let's give it a try. Won't burn myself this time. Oh my God, it's like Taiwan in a bowl. The 13 spice is very rich, so you get like a really complex load of flavors at the beginning. And the pork belly is so fatty, but also cooked down and very tender. The shallots just give it that extra kind of sweet allium flavor. The rice is chewy, it's perfect. And then we have the egg. It's great. It's taken on this kind of quality of a soy egg because it's been braised for an hour in the soy sauce. The yolk is cooked through, which is not popular in the US actually, but it's a very Asian thing. But you can also see how the braised sauce has kind of penetrated into the white. So it's very richly flavored as well. Thank you so much for watching. Really enjoyed making this home style dish with you. And yeah, like and subscribe. Cheers. Got a bubble. Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah, grab a spoon. You can't go wrong with that. Like pork fat is so good.
But the pork is like, it still has like good teeth to it. It's not like...
It's like slightly saltier than I'd make it if we weren't like boiling it up and down.
Oh my God, that